Hey everyone, welcome to another foiled episode. Today we're going to be looking at Temur Rogues in foil. Hope you're going to be enjoying this one. It's going to be a bit of a different format from the first video that I put out in my foil deck series, which was Temur Delver. I have a bit of different camera angle, different camera. I'm going to be doing things a bit differently as opposed to showing you all the cards. I'm going to be going through sets of cards, and I'm hoping that this will be a bit of a better experience, a bit of a cleaner experience, and it'll be a bit faster as well. So let's get started with the first four cards. So these are actually what I consider the core of the deck. This is what, brings the deck together, and everything kind of just works around these four. So let's start with Fairy Miscreant. I'm going to take it out of its sleeves just so we can take a look at it. A little harmless common from Origins. Artwork is pretty cool. I don't think it was reprinted since. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Seems innocuous. Flying 1/1 for 1. You don't think much of it, but drawing an extra card when you play a second one or a third one is pretty good, and it helps enable Prowl on a card we're going to be seeing very soon. So yeah, that's Fairy Miscreant. The foiling is whatever, it's standard. It's Magic Origins. I think the foiling was generally as expected during that set. So I run 4 of these in Temur Rogues. I'll put, of course, a link in the description below to the full list of this deck. If we're going to take a look at all 4 Fairy Miscreants, there they are. Simple little foils from Magic Origins. Put that there. What's next? il-Kor. Now, this is actually a harder foil to find, which is no surprise since it's from a much older set. The foiling process on this is pretty cool. I actually like the art a lot. So let's take a quick look here at what il-Kor does. Relatively inexpensive, 2 CMC, Shadow. So it can't block, and it can't be blocked except by creatures with Shadow. But what we really care about is its ability. Whenever it deals damage to an opponent, we draw a card and then discard a card. So that's a major theme in this deck. The ability to loot. And again, we will see how this synergizes with another card in this deck. A card that I love. The foiling on this is pretty cool. I don't know if you can see. I always like it when parts of the artwork are not foil, so there's a nice little contrast. Yeah, I think it's pretty well done. This is an older foil, and no real curling, so that's always nice. The older foils is always a hit and miss. It's been a lot of owners, they jump around. So I play 3 il-Kors in this deck. Again, hard foils to find. There aren't many out there. And they're actually surprisingly expensive for a card that no one really plays anymore. Up next, is Obsessive Skinner. So this is a more recent card. Let's take a look. The artwork for this is actually pretty funny because it's gruesome. But yeah, we'll get there. Obsessive Skinner, another rogue. I mean, I don't think I had to mention to you, but the first 2 creatures were rogues. And Obsessive Skinner is a rogue as well. And let's just take a quick look at the art. He's skinning. And I see hands behind him, so that's a little unsettling. The foiling on this is, whatever, it's standard. This card in particular is in horrible condition, though. Unfortunately, but whatever, it's an uncommon, surprisingly expensive foil, but I think it does see quite a bit of play in some fringe decks, like I guess Temur Rogues. And yeah, Delirium is pretty easy to turn on in this deck, so that +1/+1 every turn on your opponent's turn comes out very often, and it makes your il-Kors and your Fairy Miscreants all of a sudden big threats. So yeah, kind of a very nice little card to round out the deck. I run 2 of these. Let's take a quick look at the 2. I think 2 is a good number. Sometimes I traverse for them, so because I just need that extra boost. There they are. 2 Obsessive Skinners. Alright. The centerpiece of this deck. At least that's what I consider the centerpiece of this deck. Thieves Fortune. What an awesome card. First of all, let's just appreciate the foiling on this. That's actually really well done. I'll bring that up a bit closer for you. Yeah, the foiling on this is awesome. The artwork, I love the artwork. I don't know what it is about it. I really love the artwork. Look at that. I just love it. Something about this card. So there we go, Prowl. Alright, take a look at Prowl. We have a bunch of rogues that are evasive and they deal damage to our opponents, so very often I'm casting this for 1 blue, which is insane. I have matches posted up on my channel where I'm dealing damage with a Fair Miscreant or Looter il-Kor, and then I get to look at the top 4 cards in my library, pick one, all for 1 mana. And it's a tribal instance, so it feeds Delirium, it feeds Tarmogoyf. This is such an awesome card. This deck honestly wouldn't really even be that playable, I feel, if it wasn't for Thieves Fortune. I mean, I guess it could work, but just what you get out of Thieves Fortune, you can't beat it. So, of course, you're playing a full playset. Now, this is actually pretty funny because it's really hard to find foil Thieves Fortunes, but the ones that are available, not that expensive. They're like, I don't know, $4 or $5. I guess it's not bad for an uncommon that's not played a lot. But yeah, there's just not a lot of these. If for some reason Temur Rogues explodes one day, which it won't, but if it does, I think these foils are gonna like quadruple in price. So that's all 4. I'm happy I have my 4. And yeah, that's the first 4. Let's move on to the next ones. Alright, so moving on. Let's start with Noble Hierarch. I'm actually pretty disappointed with the foiling on this Noble Hierarch. Now you're not going to see it that much in this video. It's actually going to look pretty decent, but just take my word for it. The 4 Noble Hierarchs that I have, the foiling is just not that impressive. It really isn't. Actually, you could almost kind of tell in this video. But, I mean, it's clearly foil, but I don't know why it's just not as strong. Now you're going to look at Tarmogoyf next, which is coming from the same set, and the foiling on that is way more apparent. I don't know why. I mean, it's kind of cool, the eyes. I always like it when they do that with the eyes on foils. So it kind of looks like she's a demon. But, yeah, I don't know. The foiling on this is not that hard. It's not that strong. That being said, Noble Hierarch in this deck is pretty cool. You play 4 of them. Helps you ramp up. Helps you mana fix, kind of. It really helps you work around Magus of the Moon. Because you can slam it down turn 2 and not worry about getting a blue or a green source, because you could get one from Noble Hierarch. It's not that curved, you can't really see it, sorry. Focusing on the thin side of a card is actually pretty hard on camera. But there isn't much curving on this one, which is good, because I know a lot of people complain about the curling in Ultimate Masters. Of course, you're running 4, so let's just take a quick look at the 4. There they are. And their semi-foil glory. Alright. So, that's Noble Hierarch. Let's move on to Tarmogoyf, my favorite creature in Magic. Or at least top 3. Okay, so this art is my second favorite. I do enjoy the Modern Masters art a lot more. Yes, I know that's sacrilegious, but it's just, I'm sorry, I don't care. It is what it is. Art is subjective. This art though is not that bad. I did have to get used to it. It did grow on me. When I first saw the art come out, I was like, oh boy, they messed up. They messed up my Tarmogoyf. But you know what? It's grown on me. I actually like this style. I'm pretty sure I don't need to explain to you guys what Tarmogoyf does and why it's in this deck. It's a nice big beater. It's a finisher. Helps you deal with larger creatures on the other side of the battlefield, so it always has a place, and it gets really big in this deck. Really, really big. I think the only card type I'm missing at this point is Planeswalker, so this becomes a 7-8 very often. Very, very often. Beautiful Tarmogoyf. Yeah. It's not really curling either. So I can trick my camera into focusing for a second. Yeah, so a little real curling there, which is always good. And of course, running a play set. There are very few decks that I play that run less than 4 Tarmogoyfs, if you are playing any Tarmogoyfs at all. Alright, there they are. Tarmogoyf. Looking good. More foils than the Noble Hierarchs. More foiling, I should say. Up next, we play a 1-of in the main deck, in the main 60 of a Magus of the Moon. Should probably take off that inner sleeve as well. Reduce the glare. So there's Magus, old school art, they never changed it, and I agree with it. This art is pretty cool. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I love it. I wasn't always sold on Blood Moon on a stick because it's just so easy to remove. But you can traverse for it, which is really, really powerful in a lot of games. Look at that Blood Moon in the back. Did you guys notice that there's a Blood Moon in the back? I always forget that it's there. I'm just focusing on Magus. It's the Magus itself. Also, that's not its face. I always thought this was its face. It's not. His head's here. Anyway. Yeah. How much can I say about this? I mean, people hate this card. They hate it less than Blood Moon because they can at least interact with it a lot more easily. But, hey. If I'm going to play Temur, I'm going to try and stick Blood Moon somewhere, and this is one of those ways. So yeah, only playing 1. Last but not least, for the creatures, on the main board at least, of course, the one and only Huntmaster of the Fells. If you have never played a deck with Huntmaster of the Fells, you have not played Magic to its fullest. I am not exaggerating. Let's talk about the foil first. Foiling on this is pretty decent. Not super strong. Let's take a look at the back. The back, though. I don't know, I mean, did you guys notice? The foiling on the front is one thing. I know it has to do with the coloring. But the foiling on the back, it's almost as if it's completely different. Way stronger. And it's purple too, and you know what I say about purple foiling. I love it. I think it's the best color to foil. I know there are some people out there, very few, but there are some people that purposely hunt for purple foiling, which is kind of crazy, but hey. So, let's talk about the card itself. Huntmaster of the Fells is just... I can't explain to you the feeling that you get when you have one of these. You know, I could have multiple of these, and it's happened plenty of times. You have one of these on the battlefield, and you can control its flipping back and forth, and your opponent just doesn't even know it, but they're slowly losing. And they are running out of ways to win every turn that you're able to flip this creature back and forth. Artwork-wise, though, I love it. I'm sorry, I don't like the new art that they had for it. I have the front and back artwork original. Well, not the original, but, you know, purchased it from the artist, signed. It's on the wall. I love this card. I really, really do. Run 1-of in the main. I used to run some in the side. Cut those ever since. Yeah. So this is it for the creatures. Well, we did cover some instant. Well, we did cover one instant before. Let's move on to more instants and sorceries. Okay, so I kind of lied. We're doing instant sorcery, enchantment, and artifact, but hey, it's my video. I can change it up and lie too if I want to. Let's start with Lightning Bolt. I love this artwork. Of all the artwork, I think this is my, well, it clearly is my favorite because it's the artwork I chose. Don't need to explain to you what Lightning Bolt does, I hope. The foiling on this is awesome. The lightning strike here in particular, it's almost as if they specifically tried to highlight it. It's really well done. Really, really well done. Zoom in here for you. Just take a look at that. That little wizard or guy, girl, whatever it is, just getting shocked to hell. The artwork is awesome. I also have this artwork on my wall, signed by the artist. It's a local artist, so happy to support the locals at the same time. And yeah, just awesome artwork. Really, really, really awesome. This particular card is a bit scratched up. I'm sure the store that sold it to me called it near mint. I'm sure they would buy it back from me played. But that's just how stores are. Yep, so play 4 of these. Be weird to play less in any deck. There's basically nothing that beats Lightning Bolt for what it does. And there you go. Run a full playset. Never look back. Up next, Mana Leak. Mana Leak disappoints me. Not the card itself, but the artwork options. It's basically this if I want a foil. It's a little disappointing. I want a full art Mana Leak foil, and I don't think I have one. At least not one that I would like. So I'm hoping that they fix that in the Master set in the future. This is from Core M11. It's meh. Whatever. Foiling is alright. It's a core set. Core sets don't usually break ground in foiling, I don't think. I'm sure someone who's a bigger expert than me can say that I'm wrong. Not that curved for what it is. So I'm running 2 of these. It's permission. Needs some permission in Temur decks usually. At least in a deck like this. And I think Mana Leak does its job. Those are the 2. There they are. Alright, cool. Off to Seal of Fire. So this is neat little tech. Not really. Mostly here to feed Delirium and Tarmogoyf. It's an enchantment, deals 2 damage, so it's just a shock. What's nice about this is that when you play it, you're essentially telling your opponent, you know, the next creature that you play with 2 toughness or less, you know, it's probably not going to survive if it's good. And that's exactly what I want my opponents to think. So there's Seal of Fire, looking good. I love the artwork, by the way. This poor guy or girl is, yeah, getting burnt alive. At least that's what I see. Some poor soul just getting eaten. I love this artwork for it. I really do. I think it's the best. Foiling on this is, it's foil. There's orange and red mixing around, and I think it's foiling pretty good. Take a look there. It plays well. Not too much rainbow going on, which is nice. So you're seeing, I don't know, actual color foil specific to the art behind it. So, looks good. Running 2 of these. Yeah. Between this and the tribals, you have very big Tarmogoyfs, and you have Delirium almost all the time. Also a hard foil to find. Last but not least, Mishra's Bauble, yet to be banned. I'm hoping they don't, because I'm running out of free spells that allow me to fill up my graveyard and draw cards. So yes, I didn't buy the original Mishra's Bauble, because why would I? It's the same artwork. Why would I pay more for the same? I know that's blasphemous, but I just don't see the point. Foiling on this is pretty good though. I mean, I find foiling on most artifact cards, at least in recent memory, it's just, they all look very similar because they're artifacts, so they usually have a very similar color scheme anyway. There are obvious exceptions, but this is just your standard rainbow, whatever. Pretty straight too. I don't think any of my Mishra's Baubles are curling at all. Of course, you're running 4. Need a full playset. And there they are. Beauties. They look good in your hand. Alright, let's move on. So before we get to the lands, let's go through the last two cards. They're sorceries, important to the deck. Traverse the Alpenwald is next. Let's just take a look at the card for a second. Looking good. I have to say I'm kind of disappointed about Traverse. I don't know, I feel like the foiling process and the artwork are fighting each other. And it doesn't look good in the art. It's hard to tell in video. But if you see it in real life, I think you know what I mean. In the right light, it looks good, but in most light, almost doesn't look like it's foil. At least when you're looking at specifically the art. I don't know if I can, I don't know if I can show that to you. It looks pretty foil in this video, but yeah, trust me. Take my word for it. Traverse the Alpenwald itself, just as a card, is really awesome. Like I said, Delirium turns on very often in this deck, and yeah, being able to tutor for a specific creature to, you know, finish off our opponent is a very powerful, powerful play. So, of course, we're running 4 of them, and you always want 4. Again, this was a relatively hard foil to find. I don't know why. Actually, I don't know. I can't believe I just said that. Of course I know why. Because it's played, and people want it, and it's rare. So, limited supply, although it was reprinted. Last but not least, sad Serum Visions. I say sad because although the artwork is gorgeous, it really, really is gorgeous, and again, the video is going to lie to you. Okay, yes, it does look beautiful. I do find that the blue, at least, that they used here is faded. It's just faded. I hate it. I can't stand it. It just takes away from all of the art. I don't know why they did that. And all of my Serum Visions are like that, so it's not like I have a misprint. It's just a little disappointing. But it does look awesome either way. I know that's conflicting, but it looks really good. I don't know. It's a love-hate thing. I'm running 4 of these, of course. Serum Visions. It's the best we're going to get in Modern for now, until Wizards has Lapse in Judgment again, and unban Preordain. But until then, Serum Visions is what we're going to get. Beauties. Faded beauties. Let's move on to the lands. Alright, let's start with the lands. And we'll start off with the basics. I really love the full land Judge basics. Did I say full land? I meant full art. The full art Judge basics look really, really nice. All Therese Nilsson artwork. Just beautiful. Beautiful. The foiling job on this is great. There's a great contrast between, you know, the foreground of the art and the background. You can tell from this video. Super clear. Just looks really good. Yeah, I love it. I really, really do love it. There's a lot of these in circulation. Although I do own my fair share of islands. But, yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people just don't go after them. And I don't understand why. They look great. Either way, I run 1 mountain in the deck. Always good to fetch for a mountain when you need to be light on hitting yourself life-wise. Up next is an island. The island I think is my favorite. Look at that. This particular island is scratched. I don't know, what do you think? Near mint? I think it depends on who you are. If you're a store selling it, oh yeah, that's near mint. But I think that's more SP. Anyway, artwork itself is really, really good. Really, really strong foiling. But I like it. I think it fits it well. Look at that. Whew. Super strong. I run 2 of these in the deck. Often run 2 islands when I'm playing Temur. I guess it really depends on the deck. 2 islands. Last but not least, running forest, of course. I run 2. Let's take a look at that. The artwork is, it's okay. I mean, it's a forest. Consistent foiling, of course. And yeah, the card just looks good. In better condition too. So yeah, like I said, I run 2 of these. So I run at least 1 of each basic in this deck, which is not often. I often don't play Mountain. In Temur at least. So there we go. Let's move on to the shocks. Alright, we're on the Shocklands. Let's start with Stomping Ground. So yeah, I mean, I bit the bullet and went Expedition for everything. I don't know, I'm torn on the Expeditions. On one hand, I mean, they're rare. They're probably never going to use the artwork again, which means they're going to hold their value pretty well. I think Expeditions were more or less all loved when they first came out, so there's that positive attitude towards them for the most part. Not too many people complaining about the foiling. I mean, the foiling is pretty good. It's not from the vault type foiling, which makes me happy. Yeah, Stomping Ground's alright. If I had to choose, I mean, there are definitely non-Expedition versions of these cards that I would prefer. But it is what it is. So you run 1 Stomping Ground. Up next is Steam Vents. I mean, all the foiling is the same, but with the color choices on this card, yeah, the foiling looks a lot more intense on this Steam Vents. Take a look at that. Looks pretty good. Artwork, foiling, all comes together really, really well. Plus, I mean, if I'm running 1 Expedition, I need to be consistent with all my other cards. It would look weird land-wise. So, yeah, I guess I'm just cursed in a way. Another way, Expeditions are pretty cool, so I'm not complaining. So, we run 2. And last but not least, Breeding Pool. Artwork for this is pretty cool, I have to admit. There is your Breeding Pool. Artwork is pretty cool. It's rare to get an Expedition that's not in good condition. I don't know if you had the same experience. I mean, so often I see Expeditions posted as near mint, and they are actually near mint when you get them. I don't know why. I think people just took care of them the minute they opened them, that it's rare to have, I don't know, an SP or an HP Expedition. So, running 1 Breeding Pool. That's it for shocks. Let's finish off with the fetches. Okay. So we're going to finish off with the fetches. Scalding Tarn. Artwork is meh. I think the art direction, not a fan of it for Scalding Tarn. Foiling is nice though, I mean that's what you expect. Foiling seems super strong on this one. Run 2 of these in Temur Rogues. So not running full play set. Up next is Misty Rainforest. I actually like the artwork for Misty Rainforest Expedition quite a bit. Let's take a look there. Beauty. I like how the birds light up a different color. That's really nice. Really, really nice. The waterfalls in the background, I really like that artwork. Pretty straight card. These don't curl that bad. I've noticed. I don't think I've ever seen a badly curled expedition. Again, that might just be me. So run a full playset. There they are, looking good. Last but not least, Wooded Foothills. Same artist that did the Lightning Bolt art, but unlike the Lightning Bolt art, I am not a fan of the Wooded Foothills. Again, I blame art direction, not the artist. I mean, it's wooded, that's for sure. I mean, they got the artwork pretty much spot on. Maybe a bit too spot on. Nevertheless, there is Wooded Foothills for you. Run 2 of them. And that's it for Temur Rogues, fully blinged out, in paper. Just need to get a close-up of Wooded Foothills there. There you go, you're running 2. So, I hope you enjoyed this version of Foiled. Like I said, this was a bit of a different format, and I'm hoping that it's just better overall, just a bit cleaner and faster, and a little bit less messy. You're not looking at 50 different cards on the screen at any given time. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you enjoy my content in general, please subscribe. I would appreciate it. Hit the notification bell, all the stuff that tells YouTube that you're probably interested in my content. It helps me, it helps YouTube, it helps everybody. Thanks, and have a good one.